Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome out there. I am so happy to let you know that we have the 2019 Tai Chi Gala presenter, Shifu Stephen Watson, with us. And it's going to be really great to introduce him. You can, of course, see his full bio at the Tai Chi Gala website. Go to the presenter section. Everything is in alphabetical order by surname. He has an extensive background. He studied many arts. He still even teaches Aikido and some other things along with Tai Chi. He's a master of push hands, which is a two-person sensitivity training set with Tai Chi. I'll let him speak more on that. He is located up in Connecticut, and you can get all his contact information also on the website. He also has a Patreon link that I will ask him to share that with you. And then I'll ask him a couple more questions. So I'd like to welcome Shifu Stephen Watson. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hi. And one thing I also want to mention before we go into that is that we're going to be doing a couple of awesome things with Shifu Watson at the Tai Chi Gala. Besides his great workshops, we're going to be doing probably a panel on Friday evening, just very short dinner, nothing huge, but a little bit of talking, a little bit of live streaming, and that's going to be at dinner time. And everybody who's present at Tai Chi Gala, you can kind of come in and maybe we can sort of get you in on that table and be part of that. It'll just be for maybe about 30 minutes. It'll probably start, I have to still set up all the details, but stay tuned on the Tai Chi Gala website and also on the email list, and I'll get you that information. And then he's going to work with a couple of other people. I think maybe Sue Terry's going to be involved, and we're going to be doing something on Saturday morning, later breakfast, and that is going to be fun. That is going to be a little bit more structured, and some questions and some intellecting with each other, intellectualizing, I should say, with each other. I didn't get that word right there. So about 30 to 45 minutes of that. It's a great digital detox environment, so we're probably going to get a hot spot set up. And also, I am very honored to say that again, that Shifu Stephen Watson will be involved with the Taoist Memorial Incense Ceremony that we do on Friday, and everyone can be a part of that. I invite everyone to bring something that has meaning to you from maybe somebody who passed on and influenced your life or your practice, or just something about your life in a positive way, and we're going to honor them. And you can also just watch if you really don't want to be part of it. And if you do want to be part of it, we'll also help guide you through an actual Taoist ceremony. And,
yeah. If you haven't brought things to an altar before, you may wish to know that you can bring it home with you after. Some people have a sensitivity about bringing something, wondering if they're giving it away or giving it up, which exactly. You may do and leave it for somebody that needs it. But you can certainly bring something to the offering space, and let it soak up the energy and give up its energy and story. And then perhaps at the end of the gala, as we disassemble the altar, you may wish to take it back with you and see if it's charged up or maybe helped other people's totems and items. So no fear of physical loss there.
Yes, that's a really good point you bring up, and thank you for bringing that up. And that's why I think it's wonderful to make sure that you do go on Friday. It's a little bit more of a casual, friendly setting, and it's just where the energy starts and it opens up. It's very positive. Soak yourself in it. I think all of us really can use that atmosphere nowadays.
It's the commencement of the event. You know, every form, every structure needs its commencement, and that's our commencement, where we open to these energies, open to ourselves, open to one another. And there's some ceremony, there's some humor, there's some food, there's some storytelling, there's some hugging, and then we're ready to play. And that's how the form starts.
Yes, that's awesome. So the whole event is really one big Tai Chi form. I love that. Yeah. Very poetic. Okay, and you have a Patreon link. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so Patreon is a site where you can be a patron of the arts. And so you can log in and see what somebody who you follow is offering. And often people will do a lot of free offerings and then paid offerings. And the paid offerings work in the way where you'll budget something, say $1, and say, I'm willing to spend $1 every time such and such, like for example, me, posts a teaching video. And my teaching videos will range from Aikido to philosophy to push hands tips to form to a full workshop that I've done, a recording of will be posted there. And then you can have a ceiling, a budget to that and say, I'm willing to pay $5 every time there's a post, but I'm no more than $10 a month. And so you can set that limit and change it anytime. And then the person who's the creator, in this case, me, I know here's how many people are supporting me. Is this worth the effort to do this video? Like I have a sense of what the market is or how much support there is. And then I can maybe buy a new microphone or buy a new device for videoing or lights or what have you, because I have an idea, okay, this is what the support is. So if you wish you could have been a patron of the arts in ancient Rome, you can still be a Patreon of the arts. And my page is patreon.com/somedayfarm. That's the name of my school where I am now, Someday Farm.
Could you tell us briefly, I love that Someday Farm, and I love your email, Farming Our Somedays. Could you just maybe share a little bit how you came to such a lovely name and almost has a mystical, magical edge to it?
It really does. So yeah, Farming Our Somedays at Gmail is the email for the school. The farm was already named Someday Farm when I got here. And I was inspired to, for many, many years, I had a school in a little strip mall, like a lot of schools are. And it was next to a dog groomer and a tool shop and trucks rumbling by and a lot of pavement outside. And indoors, I'm talking about the natural world of Taoism and the energy of the great turtle but then outside there's just pavement and trucks and belching CO2 and it's just a business park. And so after having visited the Jotsunhwa Tai Chi Park, I thought, okay, I know what needs to happen. I need a place that's nature so that I'm in the context of, students are in the context of nature, where the lessons of nature and harmony are taught, because essentially I teach Taoist stuff. And so for many, many years, I was just searching for a place. This place was called Someday. Probably it's like a 5-minute spiel to tell you why. So I'll just leave it at first I thought it didn't seem very Taoist because it's not about the moment. But in time, I came to understand that someday is a really important concept for people, and farming is a really important concept. And so my role here is to help students plant the seeds of their someday and then tend those seeds, whether they continue or not. So Someday Farm is us here in Connecticut. And
That's really fascinating, because that's kind of what happened to my teacher, Jotsunhwa. As you know, before he passed in his accident in 1998, he had the Tai Chi farm in Warwick, New York, and that was also in nature. And that's why we really brought also Tai Chi Gala back to nature. And we have it at a center that reminds me a lot of how my teacher wanted to develop his place, where he wanted to, put in some more walkways and have some covered areas and some buildings that have, air conditioning and heat, and have a dining hall and have also an old touch to it, but also a little upscaled so that you're not walking in the mud when it rains. Mm-hmm. And so now we found this place that's 200 acres, in Henryville, Pennsylvania, and you have the energy of the Pocono Mountains, the clean, fresh air, getting away from all that, 5G and 4G and all that stuff and all the just noise and the traffic, just like you mentioned. So I think it's really neat that we can carry on what he was doing at his place and as the Cheongsam Fung Festival, and now carry it there. And it's really lovely hearing how you also have a similar place in Connecticut, right?
Directly inspired by that idea.
Yeah. So this is great, because we also can get together and you can let people know how they can visit you in your place up in Connecticut. So where you're in Killingsworth, is it?
Yeah, Killingworth.
Killingworth.
Yeah, Connecticut, which is halfway between New York and Boston on the southern shoreline. So a little bit east of Yale University in New Haven.
A
So
little
right,
east of Yale
right
University.
along I-95.
Oh, that's really convenient. So again, so I encourage everyone, if after, you go to Tai Chi Gala and you say, hey, or even just watching this video, you say, hey, this person is really interesting, you can connect.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let me move on a little bit here with
Please.
this lovely energy that we've started. And I want to say too, one more thing, just that, Shifu Watson, he's very humble, but his workshops are very thought-provoking. And I know that sometimes they get so deep and really into the philosophy of things and into the meaning of life and into connecting something really simple like the movements of Tai Chi or a concept, and then going deep, deep, deep down, spiraling deep inside. And people get so affected sometimes by Shifu Watson's workshops that they leave crying, but tears of joy or
I
transformation.
always bring tissues to the workshop because it's deeply affecting stuff. And really, my interest is in teaching philosophy, and the methodology for teaching it is with the body, so through Tai Chi Chuan. And some people come ready for it and some people aren't, but I find that everybody does need it. And sometimes it's laughter, sometimes it's tears, sometimes it's a mix, but it's generally giving you a lot to digest. I've had beginner students who are very enthusiastic about their lesson and their new world of Tai Chi they've taken their first steps on, and they say, maybe I can come 3 times a week, like to a private lesson. And I'll say, no, just once. No, you don't understand, I can afford it, and I'm really devoted and I really love this. I said, my plan is to give you so much information during your class that you're going to need a week to digest it. So I appreciate the enthusiasm, but just once. And often in the workshops, people say, okay, I'm going to take a year to really just start to get into this stuff. So I'm trying to, finger in the moon. I'm trying to kind of point to these ideas, let you go off and do your work with your Sifu and in your system and in your style and in your way. Because my job is not to have the answers, just to remind you that the answers you think are working may not really be working. So let's revisit our insights and understandings.
That's a beautiful thing. You're very good at helping bring out the inner part of people, the inner strength, the inner talent, and the inner intuition that lies deep inside of them. You're really skilled at that. And at the same time, you're really good at teaching them some techniques too. So that's awesome. So let's look at your workshops that you're going to be doing this year. Yeah. So on Saturday morning, later morning, you're going to be doing Tai Chi, stillness, and movement. So maybe you can let us know what kind of things people will experience or how they'll benefit from that and what you're going to be doing briefly.
Sure, yeah. So Tai Chi, stillness, and movement is a workshop I developed. It's kind of my secret way to get people to develop a standing practice, because people seem to be very good at telling me that they're doing a standing practice, which you could say is lying to me about their practice. People get very excited. They like the movements, or like they like the sword, or they like the push hands. And kind of my job is to say, yeah, but there's still the vegetables and the vitamins. There's still this other stuff to do. And while I hope that you feel like the standing, the stillness elements are your dessert, I recognize that for a lot of people, they're a little bit more boring. They're a little bit less enticing. They're a little bit more challenging. Perhaps mentally, perhaps physically, often psychologically. And so the idea in the workshop is to help people get a sense of where the stillness is within the movements that they've learned, and where the movement is in what appears to be stillness, right? And this goes back to old Tai Chi classics and Tai Chi lessons from another age that talk about, move like a river and be still like a mountain. And where we see one thing, something else is nested within it, like we see in the Tai Chi 2, the yin yang symbol. And so it's to help us explore the other side of the coin. We can enter into something we think we know and maybe see another facet of it.
That's wonderful. And I think this is great benefit for people that are both totally new, beginners, as well as people that are advanced or have been doing this a while. you're really good at integrating both in your classes. I've seen that.
Thank you. Yeah. I often travel to teach, and it puts me in front of people who study a different style with another teacher in a different way. And I don't want to leave with them thinking that I'm right and they've been doing it wrong or their teacher's wrong. I'm just trying to share another view on something so that they should be able to go back and continue in their system, their style, their teacher, and not feel that I showed up and said, here's what's right or wrong. I'm just opening the door into, there's another room in the house. Did you know that this is also there? And then you're on your own. You know, maybe not on your own, you're with your teacher, you're with your classmates, but maybe you're without me until I return the following year or something. So that's a big part of it, for me, trying to understand how I can offer something to somebody that does a different style than me, a different system. But we're all in the TaiChiGala family. We're all in these practices of Taoism and Buddhism, perhaps, which I don't say in any religious way, but we're all in this great mystery of this type of existence, and we all have something to add there. And generally, my job is to try and subtract a little. Like, you know, let's try taking that away and see what's underneath that. You know, I'm interested in who you are before you became who you've been pretending you are.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, you're going to be doing these workshops 90 minutes. So it does allow to get some depth there. Yeah. That people will feel. And then in Sunday's schedule, around 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish, you're going to be doing push hands, improve with improv. So maybe for some people that are not familiar with the term push hands, you could briefly cover what that is and then go into what the improve with improv is.
Yeah. So push hands is when we think of Tai Chi, we often think of old ladies in silk, early morning by the park down by the river, and that certainly can be Tai Chi. And we think of them as doing something, sort of a dance or choreography on their own, maybe synchronized with other people, but there's no contact, it's soft and gentle. And push hands is a two-person practice of Tai Chi where I come into a relationship with somebody else. And the idea, as in the rest of Tai Chi Chuan, is to recognize disharmony and enter into harmony. And so in push hands, this sort of two-person practice, which can be choreographed or not, we're looking to help our partner be a better partner with us while we let them show us how to be a better partner. So the short version is I say that it's a practice of relationship. And that's something that we're all in all the time, but we don't practice it. And so push hands is an opportunity to practice relationship so that it isn't conflict, it isn't off balance, it isn't heading in two different directions. We have a common path, and we're helping each other along the way. So in Tai Chi class, I'm often doing what my classmates are doing, but waiting for my teacher to correct me and say, okay, this is wrong, and you have your hands backwards. And in push hands, I'm connected to another person who's practicing being a teacher, and they're showing me where something's structurally deficient or off balance or too tight or what have you. And they may not use words, they may use their expressions of energies. So improve via improv, or whatever the title exactly is, but improve with improv or something, is my attempt to take the rules of improv that we know from comedy and recognize how they're all teaching us push hands. So really quickly, the first rule of improv that many people know is that you say yes. You don't say no. So if your improv partner in comedy says, well, it's nice to be on this boat, you don't say, well, we're on a bicycle. Just say, yes, it is a nice boat. And, you know, what's that? Is that a whale? And you go, and then of course they say, yes, it is a whale. You know, there's somebody water skiing, and you go. And in push hands, if somebody offers me an energy, I don't say no. I don't resist. My role is to accept, to connect to it, to accept, and then play it out. Maybe for humor, maybe for drama, maybe for teaching, whatever it is, but it's a conversation, it's a relationship. And so the idea is we'll kind of go through the rules and workshop those ideas and see how far we get. My plan is to improv most of the workshop. I have my set of rules and I know the list, but let's see what the questions are that people bring.
You're very masterful at bringing creativity into everything that you do in artistry. And I mean, I've seen some of your artwork too, and some of your poetry. And I invite people to look at that on Facebook too, because it's really a reflection of Shifu Watson and how he lives this and puts this into everything that he does and how he brings this out in you. And it is so different than anything you've experienced.
Oh, thank you. So there's a piece there behind me. It's
neat.
Studio, yeah. Yeah, the artwork is something I trademarked the idea of last year, and it's my attempt to teach when I'm not present. So I wonder if I could take all the teachings that I do and put them on a wall and have somebody that never meets me really get the whole of that teaching, whether it's about death or why we're here or relationship or meditation. The one I'm looking at here is meditation. I don't know if I can or if it'll work, but that was the idea. So,
you know, and that's the thing too, that a lot of people are not seeing as much or hearing about as much anymore when they think of martial arts. I've had so many people comment to me that, oh, you know, is this going to be martial arts? Am I going to get beaten up? I'm like, no. This is nothing like that. And their only contact really with it nowadays is what they see on UFC fighting or MMA, which is just one aspect of it. But I love how you go the way of Taoism and Aikido and all these things about how it's all about conflict understanding and conflict management and transmuting that energy.
yes.
And that is ultimately what brings so much peace, and it teaches people how to be at peace with themselves and with the world around them and how to bring that in. So I love how you teach that at Tai Chi Gala. That's excellent.
Thanks.
And you're, you know, in all your
I'm very inspired by Chen Mencheng's, you know, excellences, you know, and you know, I'm often will teach, you know, calligraphy or poetry or movement or sword or what have you, because there's so much about what I think makes a martial artist a martial artist. And I think the term martial artist is relatively new because it comes from a leisure class where we could consider martial arts just because I need something to do Tuesday night. Whereas there are plenty of people that were martial, but it's because they're trying to protect their village and they're in an army. But I definitely feel that if we had been alive in the Renaissance period and we're talking about a Renaissance man, that's what a martial artist is. Now, of course, even that term is lacking because it says man, not person. So unfortunately, the phrase we're familiar with, Renaissance man, which should be updated to Renaissance person, Renaissance human. But at any rate, a Renaissance person would have been expected to be able to ride a horse, arrange flowers, speak to the queen and speak to the serf. And they'd be expected to be able to joust and use a sword and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's about being a well-rounded person. It's not about, just fighting. And sure, that's an aspect. Sure, that's fine. But it's about, you know, what's the 360 around this heart space? And have I reached everywhere? Have I connected to somebody from every direction? Am I present in this middle Dantian center and connecting to all that the world offers? Well, no, I'm not, but it's nice to ask the question and try.
And that's beautiful. And as we wrap that up, maybe you can further share just some of your thoughts, your feelings, your viewpoints on what Tai Chi Gala is like in terms of the environment or the atmosphere. So for somebody who's totally new to it, or maybe somebody who's never gone there before, just sort of so you can help people understand what it's like.
Well, this is summer camp that you're not sent to, but you get to go to. It's the summer camp you choose. You might have been to summer camp like, oh, I have to do archery. I don't have any, well, this is where they sent me. You know, this is the one you get to go. It's literally a summer camp. So it's meant to return you to nature, get you off of the main highway and kind of be in a self-contained, however, would you say 200 acres? in a self-contained space. And it's very hard to say what it's like there, because when I'm there, I'm often teaching, and I have somewhere to be and somebody to meet, and somebody to bring something to, and then to be ready for a class. And I'll go from, where I'm staying in one of the dormitories, I'll go from there past another dormitory, and I'll get to greet somebody who I haven't seen and share a hug. And then I'm walking up the path, I'll talk to somebody of the helpful staff that seem to just be there at all hours. And then I'll walk past a few people having a conversation about the 2-person form. And then I'll walk up to where there's 2 people helping somebody who's worked up and maybe crying about the experience they had, and they've had some kind of breakthrough, and there'll be somebody supporting them, and maybe somebody's, let me go get you a water, or I have a tissue in my pocket, and then at last year we came up, and then somebody was a little ill, and so we were trying to figure out who had the activated charcoal, and sent somebody to Dr. Painter's room to collect that. And then meanwhile we put a goofy hat on him and took a picture because he wasn't feeling well, but the hat. And then I go in where there's a bunch of people pushing hands, or somebody filming somebody doing something, and somebody exchanging email at the next table with somebody who's from out of the country. And then a few people talking about what to expect for dinner, because they always do this thing Saturday that somebody's looking forward to. And so just my walking from on the paths, it can be worrisome but supportive, and it can be enlightening. It could be like, oh, hang on, I want to hear this come. What are you saying that breathing should be? Like, I'm listening to that, and let me help this person whose foot is sore, and we're helping them walk from place to place. And so I mean, it's this family, right? We all get a family, and then our work is often to then create, connect, to find the family we might prefer, or maybe the family we need.
Soul family.
Yeah, and this is why we do these things in the arts. I don't go to something like the Gala because I'm ready to learn the new thing. I probably will. I'd like to, but that's not why I'm going. I'm going because I'm going to be needed by somebody. And I'm going because there's going to be this really funny joke, or this really great connection, or this really interesting correction somebody gives me, or this really great hug, or this really great meal. And so the reasons that I'm there have very little to do with what's on the calendar, on the schedule. Those are the points that I try and make. I'm going to go to this workshop. I'm going to make sure I say hi to her. But all the little other things, the sharing a meal, the sneaking out early for a cup of special coffee, somebody knows a coffee shop, that's all why we're there. Like, it's the camp that you want to go to with the family that you wish had been your first.
Yeah, it's like a metaphysical and experiential camp, and yes. I love it too. And yeah. I love watching and the friendships blossom, people that really didn't know each other that well. I know that you and Dr. Painter started really getting to know each other at a Tai Chi Gala, and now you guys are really great friends, and you have all these things to share. And and it's great too, because it's so big, so there's always these corners where if people just say, you know what, I need some personal time, that they can go ahead and take it, and it's nobody's going to bother them. If they want it, it's there.
Absolutely.
So I just want to encourage everyone to understand that you're all welcome. It's not cliquey, it's new, it's different, and you're going to feel like you've been there for 100 years. Okay, so thanks so much for joining me tonight and sharing all your wonderful thoughts and your ideas with us, and all these reflections. And if there's any brief sort of message you'd like to say, or a quick, I don't know, words of wisdom or a last thought, please feel free to share.
Sure. Let's remember that underneath personality is the person that we really are. So Tai Chi offers us a way to help return to that.
I love it. We'll be seeing you May 31st, and everyone else feel welcome to join us.
That whole weekend. Thank you for all of your unrecognized efforts. It's a year's worth of work to make this happen. So thank you.
My pleasure.